It was on Saturday, the 8th of February, when we had the sad news that the founding president has left us. Key thing, I must tell you that it's very important and to put in context that I am refusing to accept that the founding is gone. But of course they say time heals. I came to know the founding father of the Republic of Namibia when I left this country in 1975. I met him for the first time in my life in Zambia, Lusaka. And I have known him until 2025. So to let him go is not going to be easy with me. And I have regarded him since the day when I met him as a father figure. For some of us who went into exile, we did not have our parents. And therefore he stood in as our parents, as our commander-in-chief, as a leader. And mind you, he's also not just a Namibian leader. He's an African and a world leader. That's how I know Sam Nujoma.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Now, having heard you share with us that you've met him in 1975 in Lusaka, back then already, what do you make of the role that he played, how instrumental he was to see to it that ultimately this country attains independence and is to become the Namibia that we enjoy today?
Yeah, I think I will also join my countrymen and women who are saying, had it not been for the perseverance of Sam Nujoma, maybe Namibia could have not been independent today. Some of us went into exile, coming from different backgrounds, from different tribes and what have you. But when we were in exile, we were all one under his wings. And I remember vividly well that if you did not go for military training, he then was saying people must go academically as well. And that was in preparation for Namibia to be free tomorrow. Because that was the dream of everybody. Majority of us who went into exile, the intention was to go and free Namibia. It was under his wing when the United Nations Institute for Namibia, under the leadership of our late comrade Hage Geingob, was established in Lusaka, and I was a second intake of that institute. And obviously, when you look at the majority of the people that are in the leadership and management of this country are products of the United Nations Institute for Namibia. His intention was, while others are fighting, we cannot at the end of the day get independence and not be able to run the country. So therefore, United Nations Institute was introduced. Where students were sent to many different countries under, of course, his leadership. His word was his command. When he says this happen, it happens. And some of us are refusing to accept he's no more with us.
Speaking of which, Madam Governor, how painful is it for us as Namibians? Barely a year after we lost our sitting president, the third president of the Republic of Namibia, whom you just shared with us, was also heading Union at the time in Zambia. This loss struck us again.
This thing, I think it's too hard on us. But everything happens for reasons. One would want to believe. And then again, this is not within our control. Somebody is controlling and somebody is doing them. So at the end of the day, us is to accept and move on. But it has been very heavy. Barely 1 year, we are again into to the passing of our founding father. It's really painful for a nation. It's just too heavy to carry. But they say, those that read Bibles, they say God cannot give you problems that you cannot handle. So I want to believe at the end of the day, as a nation, we would be able to handle this situation. And it's a must handle. We will handle it. Yeah.
Governor, from your perspective, which were Dr. Nujoma's key accomplishments?
You may not narrate Nujoma's accomplishment within an hour. That I can assure you. The many years he spent on this earth, 95 years, and he started as a young boy around 16, 15 years old. And for you to sit here and expect that somebody will narrate and tell you a story of all those 95 years, it's just not going to be possible. But I can tell you, as I said earlier on, the independence that we enjoy today and freedom of the Republic of Namibia is because of Comrade President Nujoma, the Commander-in-Chief of Plan then. And it's because of Sam Nujoma that this country is intact. The peace that he used to preach. Of course, typical Namibians sometimes will think that people are making a noise. But at the end of the day, when they leave us, that's when we realize the importance of what has been said. Remember, it was at independence when he introduced the reconciliation policy. And some of us were like, can we forget and forgive? There were some kind of mixed feelings. But as visionary leader as he was, he would see where we could not see. He would plan for the future. And therefore, at the end of the day, there was peace. There was unity in this country. And like they say, Namibia is the only country we knew, even if some of us were in exile. At the end of the day, we are back home, and we are back home doing good, because we belong here. So a lot has been done by the late president. And we really cannot narrate everything, but we have some real issues that, if you also remember SWATF and Plan, they were what is the right word? They were integrated to say, let's integrate these two forces and make a Namibian defense force. And that was done under him. And that's why I'm saying, at independence, some of us had very different understanding and trying to see things run other way. But he knew what he was doing. And this is the independence that we are enjoying. The independence that we are enjoying of saying anything and live anywhere where you want to live is because of him and nobody else.
Thank you for sharing.
Of course, and his team.
Do you believe that Namibians, particularly young Namibians, realized the value of the peace that we are enjoying, and more so realized the immense sacrifice, the price that was paid to attain this? Have we sufficiently internalized that? Are we appreciative of it?
We are not really going to be too hard on them, but I think to a certain extent, you have the young Namibians who really understood where we are coming from and where we are and what is the intention, where do we want to go. But of course, in every given nation, you will have that group that may not use any bad word, but maybe that is not interested in the politics. Sometimes they say politics is a dating game. We are not interested. But then on the other side, you are saying, but what is politics? Politics is even the air that we breathe.
Yes.
So we have some work to do in order for us to make every Namibian child understand where this country is coming from. The other day I was saying in Radio Chiherero, I said, somebody asked me, why did you go into exile? I said, yes, number one, I went into exile because I didn't like the system that was in the country. As young as I was 14 years old. I went into exile because I wanted to free this country from the yoke of colonialism. And it was those days when you go into a shop, it's either blankets or knee blankets. You get a bench at the recreation facility and it's written blankets and knee blankets. You go, you want to go and buy bread, you are told you cannot buy white bread because you are not white, you are black. So you better buy brown or black bread. So all these things were happening. And no wonder, this is a legacy that started long back. Even when the founding president will say, when our settlers came, they said, we want land And Jose Akutako by then said, please get the bucket and collect land for these people and give them. And they said, no, that's not the land we want. We want a piece of land. We want the hectares. And he said, no, that land belongs to my people. So there was an era of segregation, an era of real apartheid. Even that maybe some of us were still young not to feel it, but our parents were feeling it. And therefore we felt and thought, maybe let's take the yoke of try and fight and liberate this country.
Thank you for sharing
and
that. And
that's where we are coming from. That's where we are coming from.
Thank you. Many have hailed Dr. Nujoma for his decisive leadership, the fact that he could take a decision when necessary and stand by that decision and own up to it. What is your take on that decisive aspect of his approach to leadership?
That's my founding president. I said his word is his command. And that would take me to a question of discipline. We were so disciplined Namibians because the leader of that era, when he says it goes, when he gives a command, people will listen. And that is how we learned and came to know him. So there was no joke about it. If he said A must be done, and A must be done. And mind you, he was a very consultative leader, that at the end of the day, if he gives you an order, he will make sure that he comes back and he asks you what happened. And that is the consultation that I'm talking about. And he would also equally would want to consult. He would ever be calling you on the phone. He would ever be asking you, come in, I want to talk to you. But it was his character, and I think it worked well with him. And that is how he controlled discipline. And the people would be understanding what he wanted and what he wanted to do. I even want to remember when there was the issue of the building of the State House came into play. There were some opposition leaders who were saying, no, we don't need a State House. This State House for what? Let money be used for something else and something else. And he said, no, State House where I'm going to build. Although he did not sit in that State House. And at the end of the day, when people went and saw this State House, it's our pride. We are priding ourselves with that very same State House. And that is an indication that he was very decisive. If he says, I'm going to do that, he will do it. And he will succeed with the team of his group. Thank
you. Now, hearing you say that his word was his command, and speaking about that decisive leadership, speaking about owning the decisions that he took, what is it that present-day leaders can learn from him? What page can we take from this book?
We can actually learn a lot from founding President Sam Nujoma. As I was saying, he was a father figure. Kisting, let me tell you a story. Some of us who went to exile, for example, we are doctors, we are professors. And mind you, from our own individual background, we might have not even attained such an academic. But because through him, we are who we are today. And really, therefore, this is an icon that majority of us are appreciating. Backgrounds plays a very important role, and education, again, is another issue. If you remember vividly very well, at independence, he introduced what was known as a literacy program, very well known as adult education, deliberately. And there was an issue attached to that when it was being said, you know what, old age people are getting their pension money, but at the end of the day, it's like you cannot count your money and other people are using your money. So at least people must be told how to count, how to read. And that program is until today running. And the majority of our pensioners are telling you that we really benefited from that program. We are able to count our coins very well. You cannot come and rob me. I know how much it is. Even if I send you to the shop and say, go and buy me bread,
I will know what change to expect.
I know what my change is going to be.
Yeah.
So it is him and nobody else. So we really have learned a lot from him. We do.
What do we need to do, all of us, including the people of the Great Khomas region, to continue honoring his legacy?
We shouldn't forget that President Nujoma loved the people of Namibia until across the borders, the African continent. Nujoma will preach peace. And some of us would be thinking that his rhetoric is just too much. But I can tell you and assure you now that he is gone. This is the time we realize why he was saying it. You know, the Nigerians will say, and that's why I'm calling him a visionary leader, you can even climb the Iroko tree, but you as a young person will not see where I'm seeing, because you are not visionary as I am. You have not seen what I have seen. So therefore, the peace that he insisted on, and the notion of one Namibia, one nation, and the very notion that President Hage Geingob, may his soul rest in peace, came and built on is to say, let's build a Namibian house. Plaster it, we don't want to see those bricks. Let's all become one Namibia, one nation. And if we are one Namibia, one nation, we'll be able to love and to cherish one another. And that's the most important thing, is that aspect of unity.
Governor, what will you miss most about President Sam Nujoma?
I will mostly miss him when he calls you on the phone. He calls you on your phone and he says, where are you? No, I'm where. I want to talk to you. And you run there. The last time I went to see him, I went with the aviation group to his residence to visit him. That's the real time that I spoke to him. And he was even like saying, where's your picture? I want your picture to be put on the wall here among others. And foolishly I did not take it serious. I did not take that picture in. Now yesterday as I was seated there and I'm looking at the wall, I said, man, my picture should have been here, because this is legacy. This is legacy. But those are some of the small mistakes that we make. But one also would want to understand that visionary part of him to say, bring that picture. What was the issue all about? So I really remember him when he points that finger. That finger, when that finger is pointed towards you, you must get worried. If you are not worried, then I don't know. So he is a father. He was our father. And really, on behalf of the Khomas Regional Council, the people of Khomas, this is an icon that we must cherish. People don't die, they say. They only went to rest. And we will remain knowing this icon of the Republic of Namibia. We'll cherish him. We'll honor him. We'll follow his footsteps. He was a commander. Yeah.
Will you in due course also share with us if there are specific arrangements on the part of the Khomas Regional Council to honor him?
Yeah, no, definitely, yes. If, for example, I wanted to take the Khomas Regional Council to the residence, but it got cancelled yesterday evening because they said programs will now be starting at 12 o'clock.
Today.
And then the vigil will be at 6 o'clock evening. So we must just hold on and expect from them to call us in. So those are some of the program. Other program probably will be looking at constituency levels, because when you look at the setup of Khomas region, most part behind me here is the informal settlement.
And quite vast.
And quite vast. And one wonders whether did everybody hear the message. So it is encompasses upon the constituency councillors also to take that mobilization up and to make sure that everybody knows what has happened on the 8th of February in this beautiful Republic of Namibia.
Governor, for residents from Khomas tuned in at the moment who may be heartbroken, who may be very sad, do you perhaps have a message for your fellow residents?
My message to, not necessarily to Khomas region, but to the Namibians. To the Namibians. We are all in this, especially the First Lady, the family, the sons, the grandchildren, grandchildren, and every Namibians. Of course, our fellow neighbors, like the other day, a week ago, I had a delegation from Kunene province, Angola, and yesterday I received a message from my counterpart, the governor there, also mourning with us. So we are the land of the brave, and we'll stand by that. And we are trying to go to be that strong, but we are also being told, don't stop your tears. Cry if you can, so that you cry it out, and nobody can stop you, because the feeling that we are feeling is just not normal. So I really think that Namibians will unite more, and Namibians will become more Namibians, and Namibians will start realizing what they need to do and not to do as a nation for us to get out victorious and strong. Yeah.
Perhaps a final, last word before we let you go, Governor.
Yeah, lastly, yes, we are mourning. We still do not have the arrangements in terms of when are we going to lay our founding president to rest. So we must mourn like, we should not mourn like people who do not have faith. We must have a belief that we'll go through this whole exercise together. It's not the first time. We tried last year and we managed, and I want to believe we are also going to manage. So on behalf of the Khomas region, of course, and as well all the Namibians, let's mourn our president. Let's mourn him. He deserves that. He has done. We are also celebrating a life well lived. 95 is not a joke. You look at those ages and you look at yourself and you know, oh, 95 is not a joke. Will some of us get there? I doubt. We are not going to make it. But those who made it are the lucky ones. So seriously, let's all mourn in peace, and let's all of us commit ourselves to bring him to rest and put him at the last end where we want him to be.
Condolences once again. Condolences once again to you and to the people of the Great Khomas region, and thank you very much for holding space for us as a region, as our first citizen.